All right, we're back, people, covering ATP action here on The Slice. And we've got two ATP 500s going down right now in Astana and Tokyo. And we've got one of the biggest matchups we've seen in a while, I think, in tennis in general, with Djokovic and Medvedev in the semifinals of Astana. So we basically, if you look at the players left in each tournament, we got Team World in Tokyo and Team World or Team Europe in Astana. Kind of makes sense based on where those tournaments are. So can Djokovic get his second title in a row? He's going to have to go through Medvedev and then either Rublev or Tsitsipas. So let's get into it here on The Slice. Thanks for being here. All right, friends of the show, how the heck are ya? It's been, we're in that, we've been talking about it on North of the Net. If you haven't seen our recent North of the Net, talking about Jeannie Bouchard and her comeback, click the link up here. I'll throw it up there. But there's that kind of lull after the US Open, right? Where the casual tennis fans check out, but the hardcores like us stay locked in. And the Laver Cup, you saw my videos about Federer. That was crazy emotional. There's the Davis Cup. There's some other small tournaments last week. Djokovic won Tel Aviv last week. And now we're into two kind of bigger tournaments and just lots of great action, great matchups so far. Don't forget, this episode is brought to you by The Monday Bagel, our new newsletter that comes out every Monday. Next one is coming out this Monday. So if you subscribe, we'll send you basically a rundown of the top 10 of WTA ATP, who the biggest movers have been, reactions from last week, kind of like a summary, and then just some really cool things like new swag drops or like cool shoes dropped in the tennis world, Canadian tennis updates, who's been playing, even into challengers and stuff like that, and then a next gen mover looking at the Challenger Tour. So all that condensed into like 3 scrolls on your phone. Newsletters are cool again. Subscribe to ours. I appreciate it down below. And we just gave away our first free bagel mug because we do a monthly giveaway of the bagel mug to a member of that subscription. So the US Open champ and runner-up have faltered in their start to the fall season. That's Casper Ruud, the runner-up, and Carlos Alcaraz, obviously the new world number 1. They took New York by storm, but have failed to follow that up in the fall season. Casper lost to Nishioka in Korea, and then Wami Munar in Japan. So kind of a flat, nothing Asian swing for him there as the number 2, now number 3 player in the world. And then Carlos lost to Felix, Canadian, in the Davis Cup, but then in ATP tournaments, he lost to Goffin here in Astana as the number 1 seed in his first match. So neither guys have really followed up their US Open form, but that tends to happen with the younger players. But what do you guys think about that? Let me know down below. So let's look at Tokyo first. Let's go to Japan. We got Sunu Kwan versus TFO on the top. TFO, the number 4 seed. And Taylor Fritz, number 3 seed versus Shapovalov, Canadian, number 7 on the bottom. So Kwan versus TFO. TFO is confidence big time high right now. He sealed the deal for Team World in the Laver Cup to get their first ever Laver Cup. He hasn't lost a set all week in Japan yet. Bagel over Kecmanovic. So to me, him winning the trophy this week or taking home this title would not surprise me based on the tennis he's been playing. In the US Open, beat Nadal. Then clinched Team World, like I said, at the Laver Cup. So he's just playing probably the best tennis of his career. Seems the most locked in he's been, the most just everything's clicking for him, and he's a treat to watch. So I'm taking him over Sunu Kwan, who's nice player, but TFO's got the sauce right now. And then Fritz, who he's had really no competition so far in Tokyo. He's played 2 fairly easy players to beat for him, and then had the walkover over Nick Kyrgios in the quarterfinals. So he's in the semifinals where he plays Shapovalov, who's really finding his level again. If you guys remember, he basically couldn't win a match. And our interview with him here on The Slice was right in the middle of that. He couldn't win a match for a long time. I think it was a 7-match losing streak. So he's finding his level after the US Open. I really think that US Open match versus Andrei Rublev in the 3rd round was he played amazing tennis there. Both guys did. He just lost it as a flip of the coin at the end in the 5th set tiebreaker. So he played well against Koric. He's serving good, and he's looking really just settled and locked in. So I wouldn't be surprised, again, if he was able to beat Fritz. He could beat all 3 players left in this draw for sure. So a title is, not surprising for Fritz, Shapovalov, or TFO. So that's a nice little Tokyo semifinal there in Japan. Then we head over to Astana, where we got amazing, semifinals in Kazakhstan. Who knew they were getting treated to some amazing players? They got Rublev versus Tsitsipas on the top, and then they got Djokovic versus Medvedev on the bottom. Rublev, no sets lost, ATP 500 king. So you think, ATP 500, this is where he shines. So he's going to play Tsitsipas tomorrow, who finally got a confidence win, I would say, over Hurkacz. It was a really tight first set, and I think Tsitsipas had like eight break points in the first set and wasn't able to capitalize on any of them. Finally, Hurkacz even had a set point that he missed an overhead on, and then Tsitsipas got a mini break in the first set tiebreaker, and then kind of started playing better and got the break in the second set. But yeah, he's been shaky this year. Like Tsitsipas has looked rattled against Kyrgios and against Alcaraz. So this is the first win in a while for him where it was like tight. It was up against it, and he came through and won. So that seems to me to be like a confidence win for him. And I'd pick him as a slight favorite in this Rublev matchup on the indoor hard courts. He served amazing. So yeah, Tsitsipas versus Rublev, that's a great matchup. Then we got Djokovic, who won Tel Aviv. Didn't face anyone, he played Cilic there, who's a good player, obviously, but beat him fairly soundly. He won Tel Aviv. He's playing amazing. His quality of indoor hard court tennis, which is very hard to beat. But if there's anyone who can be confident in doing it, it's Daniil Medvedev, right? So this will be the biggest test for Djokovic by far so far since the Laver. He came back into action in the Laver Cup, and Medvedev just absolutely demolished Roberto Bautista Agut. I mean, call the police and report Daniil Medvedev, because that was an absolute murder in Astana, Kazakhstan, over Roberto Bautista Agut. It was the double bagel stick, 6-1, 6-1. So that was like some of the best tennis I've seen all year in a 3-set match. So if he can bring that to Djokovic, it'll be very interesting to see how Djokovic responds, playing, one of the best players totally in the world. We'll see how he responds to that, and I can't wait for that matchup. So that's a great matchup in Astana. Tokyo's got nice matchups with Team World players, like I said. So the fall's off to a nice, warm little start here, I think. What do you guys think? Who's going to come through in both these tournaments? Who do you think is the eventual winner? What are your thoughts on everything? And do not forget to subscribe to the Monday Bagel. We're almost at 100 subscribers, and you guys are going to help us out. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time here on The Slice, and that's it.